going to do something we haven't done in quite a while on today's episode of Miami Dolphins Today by Chat Sports, and that is a Dolphins Today mailbag from our Tuesday live show. I am Nic Rohloff. Welcome into Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. And if you want to get more information surrounding the Fins, wall-to-wall coverage outside of YouTube, make sure you follow us on Instagram at Dolphins Today IG is our handle. Let's get to 700 followers. We're currently at 591. We're inching closer and closer to 600, and then we want to get to 700. So give us a follow over there. We're posting daily content, short-form posts, engaging stuff there. So go check it out. We'll start with a super chat from Gwendolyn Plays. I think Bradley Chubb should have not had his 21-day practice window opened, expectedly when we near elimination from the playoffs. So, if you missed the news earlier on Tuesday, Bradley Chubb did not get activated during his 21-day practice window, which means he is out for the season and will not return. Gwendolyn is saying that was a good decision from the Miami Dolphins. I have a differing opinion on the matter. I would have liked to see Bradley Chubb out there. Now, I will say this. If Chris Grier, Mike McDaniel, and Bradley Chubb came together and had a conversation, and Bradley Chubb was like, yeah, I don't really feel like 100%. I don't really trust my own self to be out there and give it my all, and I would actually be a detriment to the team if I was out there trying to play, then okay, I get it. But from a macro perspective here, he's got a $29 million cap hit in 2025. I would have liked to know if he had a little bit of juice left in him going in the next season, because the Dolphins don't have a lot of cap space, and they need to create cap space to fill some other holes on this roster, like safety, linebacker, interior offensive line, and they'll need to create cap space in some area. Now, is that going to be a Bradley Chubb contract restructure? Is that going to be a post-June 1st trade, post-June 1st release? Like, what are the Dolphins going to do here to try to open up some cap space for free agency in the spring? Maybe Bradley Chubb could be a casualty. We'll see, but there's a lot of unknowns when it comes to the Dolphins' edge rushing depth chart next season. Jalen Phillips is returning from a knee injury. Bradley Chubb hasn't played since January of 2024. It's an issue. I don't love it. Matt Hudson coming in with a question. Do you think we need to blow it up with Tua, Mike McDaniel, Chris Grier after watching the success in Denver, Washington, and Philly with their new coach QB tandem? I do, Mac. I do. Yes, I do. That's how I'm going to answer that question. And I'll tell you why. Listen, Chris Grier has failed to address the interior offensive line. He just has. I think Grier has made a couple good moves and a couple good draft decisions. He's also made some really bad moves, letting Deshaun Elliott walk, letting Andrew Van Ginkel walk, letting Brandon Jones walk. But you also have to acknowledge drafting Chop Robinson, big-time hit, signing Aaron Brewer, signing Jordan Brooks. I mean, that's just last season, obviously. There's been a lot of moves made over the tenure of Chris Grier from 2016 on. But here's the moral of the story, folks. Dolphins haven't won a playoff game in 20-plus years. Sure, they're going to have above 500 record over the last 3 years with McDaniel, but they've failed to beat teams 500 or better. They failed to win games on the road in December, late November when it's cold. Their team is not constructed to win when you need to win. The team is constructed to win in the warm environments, in the neutral environments, in September, October, domes. This team is not built to win in November and December. And until they have a system in place where they can win those games, there is no chance the Dolphins win the Super Bowl, because unless you have home field advantage in the postseason, which doesn't seem like it's going to happen anytime soon, you're going to have to travel on the road and win in cold environments. Team's not built to do so, so I think a complete overhaul might be necessary. What say you, though? Should the Dolphins fire GM Chris Grier? Why for yes, I've been for no. Not many GMs in football are going to get 7, 8, 9 years of leeway without a playoff win and still have a job. I'd fire him. Let me know your thoughts. Poe with a question. Do the Dolphins go offensive guard in the first round or safety? Poe, it's a great question. I also just realized, I think that's a bottle of Hennessy in your profile picture, and that's legendary stuff, Poe. It's tough. To me, it is dependent on best player available. Both are positions of need, but I am not going to think that the Dolphins will take one or the other because they believe one or the other is the bigger need. To me, it's the best player available. So say the Dolphins are picking 15. If Malachi Starks is there at 15, I feel like that would be a good pick. The safety out of Georgia. Kid's an absolute stud. I'd love him. But if Will Campbell or Kelvin Banks are there, two of the top offensive linemen, doubt they are, by the way, because they'll probably go in the top 10, it's going to be hard for me to pass them up. To me, I think the Dolphins should go BPA. Whoever is the best player available at one of those top positions of need is where they should go. If, say, Starks or one of the offensive linemen are on the board, even though I think interior offensive line is a bigger need, if you have Starks as a better overall player on your draft board, go with him. Take the best player available because you need the most productive, youthful players on this team to help contribute while their contracts are cheap because of not a lot of cap space right now, which is why I think they just go BPA. And that's kind of how I feel like it's going to be for the Dolphins. Think about just this past NFL draft. They drafted Chop Robinson at 21. Was that the biggest position of need? No, it was not. Not even close. Because on paper, you had Bradley Chubb returning, Jalen Phillips returning, and you signed Shaq Barrett. So that wasn't a big position of need. But they identified Chop Robinson as the top player on their board. They drafted him at 21, and it turned out to be a great move. I am always a proponent of BPA, and that's how I think it will go again in this upcoming April. All right, make sure you hit that sub button. We're 24 hours away from a Dolphins-Browns Week 7 watch party. Join the channel. We are just edging out the Browns report in our Week 17 sub battle. If we win the sub battle, we'll win the game and hopefully keep the playoff hopes alive. So hit that sub button today. Hot Dog says, I want to play Buffalo in the first round. I do not. Bold choice here, Cotton from Hot Dog. Listen, I'll say this. If the Dolphins have a playoff game, I will be very excited. But if I had to choose a team to play, why would it be Buffalo? Like, seriously. The Bills have owned you over the past 3 seasons. You think you're going to go into Buffalo, beat Josh Allen? Now, I will say this. The Bills' defense is absolutely horrific, so I think you'd be able to score on them, as proven when you went to Buffalo in early November and scored 27. The thing is, though, this Dolphins defense has never been able to figure out Josh Allen. Josh Allen, it owns the Miami Dolphins. Simply put, owns. It's just like how Tua Tagovailoa is against New England Patriots. Tua always beats the Patriots. Josh Allen always beats the Bills or beats the Dolphins. I would be willing to play the Bills in the playoffs because it means the Dolphins have a playoff game. But if I had to choose, I would much rather have to go to Houston, which is probably not going to happen because they're going to be the 4 seed and the Dolphins can't get to the 5 seed. Or I'd much rather play the Steelers in 2-7, 3-6 in one of those 2 games. All right. It is just past the holiday season. Some of you may have gotten some nice little cash around the holiday years. Well, treat yourself with this quarter zip. Nice little Q-zip, versatile to wear anytime. On sale right now, chatsports.com/DolphinsQzip. If you got some cash over the holidays, I'm not going to tell you how to use it. Well, I'm going to say it's pretty nice. I have it. Links in the description and comments of today's video. Anthony Manzano with a question. Are there any good young safeties that are going into free agency that Miami can go after? It's funny you say that. I actually have a list, and let me go find the list real quick. But I know off the top of my head, Javon Holland is a free agent. Obviously, we're talking about replacing Javon Holland. We've often talked about Budda Baker as well, and Baker is signed a 2-year extension with the Arizona Cardinals, so he is no longer available. I have a list some here. I'm trying to find it. Oh, it's killing me. Driving me nuts. I have a list of draft picks. Oh, here it is. There, I found it. Justin Reed is an intriguing name. He's a little bit of a veteran. Julian Blackmon is an interesting name. Indianapolis Colt. Jeremy Chin, larger kind of safety linebacker hybrid on the Commanders. Interesting name. And Trayvon Moehrig, who's played pretty well for the Las Vegas Raiders. The free agency pool for safeties is not great, I'll be honest. With Budda Baker off the market, I don't want to pay Javon Holland. So I think the top 4 safety names, in my opinion, would be Justin Reed, Julian Blackmon, Jeremy Chin, and Trayvon Moehrig after that, which is why I think it would be pretty important to look after Malachi Starks, Kamari Ramsey, Xavier Watts, Sebastian Castro, Kevin Winston Jr., the top 5 safeties, in my opinion, in the NFL draft. I knew I had a list somewhere. I just had to find it. All right. Who you got for Week 17, Miami Dolphins or Cleveland Browns? I'm going with Miami, so I'm typing my MIAs. But let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments. Who you got Week 17? Mark with a question. If the Dolphins start next season 2-3, do we fire Mike McDaniel middle of the season? No. I will say this right now. Based off what I've seen from the ownership of the Miami Dolphins, I do not think they would fire Mike McDaniel midseason. I don't think there is a way he gets fired midseason unless they actually started the year like 0-8. And even then, I think they might just ride out the season. Mike McDaniel will have, in all likelihood, 3 straight winning records. Like, if they win the last 2 games of the year and finish 9-8, you would have seen the Dolphins winning record year 1 make the playoffs. Winning record year 2 make the playoffs. Granted, they didn't make a playoff push in that years because they lost both of their first playoff games, but he could finish the year, first 3 seasons as a Dolphins head coach with a winning record. And I do not think they will get rid of him just because they start the year 2-3. It would take a catastrophic start to next season for them to get rid of McDaniel. Do I think they should get rid of him? Yes, I don't think they'll ever win a big game with Mike McDaniel as head coach, but they will not fire him in the middle of the season next year. All right, I'll do it for today's episode of Miami Dolphins Today. If you do not get featured on today's mailbag, you can always ask me questions over on our Instagram page at Dolphins Today IG. We're also posting short-form content and other posts as well. If you want wall-to-wall coverage every single day, 24/7 on the Miami Dolphins, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow us over on IG at Dolphins Today.